I was in Hampstead with the rich people and the trees with leaves and the comfort. The Everyman Cinema was in Hampstead, and I wanted to pick up the new programme. It's a repertory cinema which shows old art house movies. Some of them are so boring you want to die, but a lot of folk go just to say they've been, like a lot of places, like Hampstead, like me in Hampstead. The cinema is at the top of the hill just beside the tube station. I'd come on the radioactive North London line, which of course stopped at the bottom of the hill, so it meant a little walk up the hill along the high street. There were worse walks, worse hills, worse everything in fact, and most of them were where I lived, Hackney, the forbidding zone. There were also no bookshops back in the Badlands, so on the way up, I duck into Waterstones to pretend I could still afford a book. Through the matte black wooden frontage to the lines of matte black shelves. Very London, late 80s, all that non-shiny black MDF. Anyway, I browsed, because in those days we still did that, standing up. I make a point of browsing in the philosophy section, just in case any smart chicks with pencils in their hair and thick glasses are there. There aren't. There never are. I'm on my own, isolated from the rest of the shop in a little piazza of black shelving. I could easily slip a book under my t-shirt, but I was standing in front of the ethics shelf, and you can't steal a book on ethics, can you? I pick out the thickest book on Hegel I can see. Look at the back, just in case it had anything written on it I might understand apart from Hegel. The inside, forget it. As impenetrable as a lost alphabet. My friend Frankie had read a book by Hegel 9 times and swore he hadn't understood a single word the first 3 times he read it. Frankie was a bit mad. He had a room full of Lenin books, which even Lenin didn't have. I put it back on the shelf. It's too difficult and too expensive anyway. I fancied I would still read philosophy, even now I'd finished college, but of course that was rubbish. I hadn't even read the books I'd already got before the exams. Not to worry, my snobbishness would outlast any knowledge I might have retained. I walk along the row, feeling extra superior when I reach the psychology section, because that's mostly rumour and hallucination and nutcases compared to philosophy, isn't it? Now Nietzsche, there was a fine human being. I take a spin around the fiction section just to reassure myself the same names are still there on the books I'd bought second-hand from Camden Market and piled up in small piles on my bedroom floor for want of a shelf. From the top of the highest one you could nearly see a life. I slide my finger down the spine of some Fitzgerald the stalls haven't given up yet. I feel wistful, even though when I don't feel wistless. The sideways names and titles, the shelves and shelves of lovely words. I'm walking around my home with my head held on one side. Home, imprisoned in my taste, exiled from the outside. Most people didn't know what I knew, think what I thought. Probably a good thing for them, but it served as a moat between us. Stuart's sister, for example, she was so well read she thought Ring Lardner was a phone message. I leave the bookshop, walk up the little alley towards the parallel street, turn right and walk towards the Everyman. Alleys in Hackney are just long dark slaughterhouses for the careless unwary. In Hampstead, they're even nicer than the calm streets, peaceful enclaves in the middle of paradise. Some even have small houses on. At the windows can be seen the glowing faces of retired university dons tending flower boxes in some kind of weird NW8 rapture. Hampstead generally is really nice if you're not bitter and sad. It's full of old lefty money, large houses, artists and actors. You expect to see Alan Rickman striding over the heath in a scarf and corduroys with 2 black labs on leads, out to pick up the Sundays. It's almost unbelievable, but people here do stuff like smile at each other in the street, talk to strangers in the pub, and don't run home in the dark. There are shops selling actual fruit. The street lights work. People pick up their own dog's dog shit. Really, they're dog shit. I pick up the new programme from the box outside the ticket office. I'm a little disappointed as always now that my mission's accomplished and I have nothing else to do. So I have to go back to the flat and do nothing there. I want to stay with happy people in sunny Hampstead. It's not just the money, it's the wealth. I know there's more things to life than money. I know very well, because I can't afford them. I go home.